All right, let's see how I can do this. Hopefully it's okay. That's the best shot I'm gonna have. Hi, this is Raquel with Paints and Glitter, and I'm coming along live to see if I can do some crafting, and I'm hoping this works. I'm going to give this a minute, and hopefully I can see the video okay, and my apologies for the setup. It is the best that I could do. I don't see my video. So if you can hear me, bear with me. I'm trying to find my own video and I don't see it on the channel. So I'm going to see if I can find it before I get started. This is how it goes. I don't see it at all and I don't know why. Okay, let's see what's going on here. I don't know why I can't find my own video. Alright, it's looking like YouTube's not going to let me find it, so I'm going to try to find it another way. So bear with me if there's anyone there. I do apologize that my hands are not in the video or anything. I'm not doing that on purpose. I'm just trying to find the video because I don't see it on my end. And let's see here. Found my channel and it looks like I'm live. There we are. Okay. Looks like I am live and ready to go. Okay. Sorry for any squeaking. And I hope the light's okay. I'm going to make sure that I can see my hands here. All right. I can. Okay. So I'm just going to start moving things around and crafting. I'm using Paper Rose Studio products today. Super excited to have them on hand. And I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping here while I get myself situated. There you are. Okay, so if anyone's rewatching this video, I'm going to try to edit out the intro, but if I don't get to that, I do invite you to just skip through the beginning because this is a very impromptu video and I'm just trying to get some projects out. Hi, Bonnie. Bonnie, I'm having a day. How are you? I'm happy to see you. I am happy that you're here so that I'm not talking to myself. I've been trying to set up for a video. My computer stopped working. It's just, you know, one of those things. So I decided, okay, then if the computer won't work, then I'll improvise, adapt, and overcome, just like a Marine, right? So what happened is that my phone, I haven't used my phone to film in a minute. So I've been trying to adapt things and I can't get them situated where I want them. So that explains the whole sideways situation. Just got home. Oh, I hope you had a good day. You work full time, don't you? I'm pretty sure you do. So I'm going to stamp a few images here and then I'll explain what I'm doing. I'm going to, actually, I think I want to leave that there. I like to use my leftover pieces of card to stamp on. I think we all do that as crafters. So just to give a very brief intro, I'm working with Paper Rose Studio products. They're so lovely. So I am going to give you a bit of a walkthrough of what I've done. But if you see the stamps here, they stamp so nicely. There's really, I don't have anything special on here. Don't have my platform out or anything, but that's okay. It's fine to switch it up and just work with what you have. I do have watercolor card behind this strip of paper here, so it does allow for a little bit of a cushion there. And this is Intense Black ink from Honeybee Stamps. And I meant to stamp out this butterfly and forgot, but I'm also working with Fiona Butterfly. It's so super cute. And I just stamped out the images from this ticket collection, which I thought was darling. And as you can see, I just did multiples there for a moment of the one that I prefer, but there are 2 different size tickets in this, and this is Ticket Creator Clear Stamp. Oopsie, I think I got that in the wrong place there. I'm trying not to get ink all over my hands, so I don't necessarily clean them off immediately, but I at least want to get them back on that carrier sheet while I do the coloring and all that good stuff. And I see, hi Nolyn, thank you for being here, dear. So I was going back and forth. Should I go live? Should I try to record? But because I'm having issues with my computer, and then that means I'm reliant on someone else to fix it, then I figured, you know what, let me just go ahead and do the live, because whenever you make content, if your equipment goes kaput, then sadly, that means another 24 hours worth of not being able to edit video, at least for me. So, hence my bit of frustration, because I'm like, okay, I gotta get some projects done, and I cannot edit anything. So I was like, all right, then I'll just go live, and everybody knows how I craft at this point, at least the people who watch my channel. Y'all know I'm not perfect. I just enjoy what I do, and I share it with you guys. And I try to share the inspiration behind why I craft. And the products, of course, for me, I don't feel like I'm really selling anything, because it's just stuff that I normally would use anyway. And then I just feel like I'm hanging out with my girlfriends and guy friends occasionally. Every now and then a guy pops up, and then doing my crafts, right? So that's the fun part. Now, having said that, because these companies are so gracious to send me items to share with you guys, that of course I'm going to let you know what they are. So I just mentioned little Fiona Butterfly. It's a cute little butterfly, and what appealed to me were all those little polka dots. I get into these, what do you call it? Like when all of a sudden something appeals to you, patterns and things like that. Lately it's the whole polka dot thing. I don't know why. I find them so cute. All right, so we're gonna put Fiona back. Fiona came all the way from Australia, guys. Because Paper Rose is an Australian company, and they are available worldwide, however. So when you get these little supplies in your hands, what's really neat is that if you look at their website, as you just saw, I did some stamping there, and then you can, oh, Bonnie, you haven't crafted. That's okay. You know, we all go through our spurts, right? Like I was just talking about liking the polka dots right now. That'll pass. And then I'll like stripes, and then that'll pass, and then I'll like something else, right? We're all like that. But lately I've been getting into quilting, believe it or not. So But my approach to everything is just wing it, and so I went in and started doing my own designs instead of following a pattern. So I'm just not good at following patterns. I'm not that girl. Anyway, so I wanted to let you know that the cool thing about this is that they do have matching dies for these little tickets. I don't recall if there was a matching die for the butterfly, however, and I'm going to be completely honest, I don't know if I looked. I've just been crafting and I don't remember, but I'm going to be using this as well. This is called Vintage Labels 1. I thought it was cute because it's a rectangle, but then the corners are not, you know, pointy. I mentioned these for the tickets, so we'll use that. I also may or may not use this one. This is called Etched Stem Builder 1, and it's tiny, tiny little flowers, but I thought that would look cute. And here is one I've already used, Etched Bloom 3. If you've not seen my bees and butterfly card video that I made with this flower, I'm gonna say don't let it fool you. It looks like, you know, oh, okay, another flower die. It's actually really, really darling, and you can use lots of layers and make them super voluminous if that's your thing. And then there's this one called Dainty Foliage. I have a hard time saying that, but it's super cute, and this can be used all year round. And some of the dies from Paper Rose have the little photo in the corner, so you get a bit of an idea. But I would say if you like to read your measurements in US inches, right, then be mindful that that is not the measurement used in the rest of the world. So you may want to do your little conversions, you know. Ooh, no, Lynn, you've been doing jewelry. Oh, I would love to have that talent. I've added beads and things to the books that I've made. But oh my gosh, I do not have the talent of jewelry making. And I think it's because my hands hurt when I try to grasp things. So I give up because I get frustrated. But I love to see what other people make. There's a channel, in fact, there's a young woman that, she's a paper crafter also, and if I'm not mistaken, she's on the design team for Frank Garcia's studio. Oh my gosh, I can't remember her name, but she makes some really beautiful pieces. Yeah, Bonnie, that's why I'm right in the head. Because I'm left-handed. Okay, so the computer, I'm filming with my iPad, and I have it on my marker tower because it was the only thing that was high enough to prop that thing on there. So if you see shaking, it's because I'm grabbing the markers out of there. So I'm just gonna, I should have taken them all out of here. I'm going to just wing this. I have no plan. What I can tell you, however, is that I'm going to use some pink. Ay, mamma mia, what am I doing? I meant to grab watercolors, and here I'm grabbing the Copics. I totally meant to do watercolor, not this. I don't know what I'm thinking, guys. Ay, ay, ay. As soon as that marker hit that paper, I'm like, no. Yeah, that's not going to work. So let's just call this don't do this. This is the don't do this butterfly. But you guys know I'm going to try to rescue it, right? Because I grabbed the wrong ink. What else is new with me? What else is new? This is my issue, is that I'm so imperfect. But okay, here's what I'm going to do. I laid down a foundation there, and I'm going to rescue that because I meant to grab my watercolors. And I'm doing, what do you call this? Oh, actually, you know what? I do have some acrylics. Alright, it takes all of 2 seconds for me to change my mind, and there's nothing new in that. So I have some interference inks that I haven't played with, and I think I want to do that. So that means that I need water, which I have here, And I need a watercolor brush. And I think this one's good enough. And then we may take out some acrylic markers as well. But let's just play with this. So, okay. So these are by Lisa Horton. Like Horton Here's a Who. These are Interference Cloud 9 inks. This is called Cherry Bomb Shimmer. So they do have some shine. Not all of them do. But what I like is that they are kind of like oxides in the fact that they react to water. But these, with the shine that they have, oh, ooh la la, I love them. They're so, so pretty. I've been really happy using them because whenever you use any kind of watercolor, it's so forgiving. You really don't have to do anything perfect with a watercolor brush. Other than, you know, make sure you add water. Everything else is optional. But you can add as much or as little of this as you like. You don't have to necessarily follow the lines. The ink that I used here, by the way, is not the best one either, because I'm a dingbat. So, but I'm gonna stamp them again with hybrid ink, because that's gonna be my best bet. But if you notice, the alcohol marker went nowhere, so that's fine. That's not gonna be ruined. I think I'm just gonna flip this over and do the stamping with the correct ink this time around and pay attention to what I'm doing. Yeah, I think what's important, Nolan, is that you switch it up with other things. Because yes, you can definitely become oversaturated with the same old, same old. In fact, this is the first butterfly stamp that I've even grabbed from Paper Rose. Everything else has been kind of just basic in shape, and I figured, you know what? I'm just, because it's going to go along with some papers that are heavy florals, which I'll show you in a moment. That's the reason why I figured, well, at least I'll grab one. See where that goes. And like I said, I like the polka dots. All right, so let's grab the correct type of ink. This says it's waterproof. Okay, so let's, that looks kind of goopy though. See that? Weesh. I'm intimidated. Okay, let's see what happens. I'm trying to just make sure that I don't accidentally wet my project, but everything else is game. Okay, oh, well, I guess that's gonna work. And I don't always test out all of the inks, so sometimes I buy them, and if I don't get to use them right away, you know what? That's a pretty clear image, all things considered. Okay, so back on the acetate, it shall go. And I have to force myself to put it back because, guys, if not, it may likely end up in the bin, and I don't want it to end up in the bin. Okay, so we're gonna put this back. I hope everyone had a pleasant Mother's Day. If you were able to celebrate with your mama, if she's in heaven, I still hope that you guys had a good time. All right, so I'm gonna wet this again, and then you can introduce as much or as little water as you like here. You don't have to go too light, but it goes without saying that, hold on a second, I don't like that ink at all. What the what? Okay, my alcohol-friendly ink, or I mean water-friendly ink. No can do. I'm gonna flip it over. If the other one works better, we're gonna go with the other one. That was strange. Yeah, I don't understand that whatsoever. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'm purposely being messy, okay? Because this is just a wash. and I'm not going to force myself to think too much about it, especially with this brush. This is a Nouveau brush, but I think it's been around the block a few times because it's looking like it's had a life. Okay, so we're just gonna do this. And for the record, this ink was the intense black ink from Honeybee Stamps. This says alcohol marker friendly, yet it did not budge with watercolor. So it's good to, you know, if you're taking notes on what kind of ink works with what, you may want to be aware of that. Okay. So let's see if I have a better brush here. Don't know what I've been doing with my brushes. I guess I've not been nice to them. I feel like it needs a haircut. Okay. So I gave it a haircut. Hopefully that helps. I cut it at a bit of an angle there. All right. Sometimes you need to do that to your watercolor brushes. So I'm going to use this one. It's called Golden Sun Shimmer. And this will have more orange in it. Whereas that other one, if you use it more intensely, it has purple in it. So I'm going to see if I can just pick a tiny bit of water up with that. It's, yeah, it's probably not going to show up much on here because, yeah, it's not as intense as I would like it to be, but that's okay. Keep playing with it. The fun part will be that it'll be shiny when it's all said and done. And normally I would have picked a much better watercolor brush. I'm going to be completely honest. This is not my favorite. These do come in different sizes, but if you have ever watercolored, then you may know that you want a malleable brush. You want one that's not too stiff. And this one looks like it spent time in the army. Oh, whatever. I'm just going to do washes then. I want this to just be done and over with. So it's going to just get a wash. Because the brush is not brushing. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's just not, it wasn't picking up any water at all. So it's making me look bad. All right, let's just do washes. I wanted there to be some gradient of color, but that's not going to happen. So I'm going to set that aside. And what I will do is, and that's a horrible job at coloring, by the way. Don't do that. You're better off using the correct tools. But in any case, they'll be shiny. And what I wanted to show you was that I wanted to match them up with, so yes, the ink pads from Lisa Horton, they are gorgeous. There's nothing wrong with the ink. If you're going to use them as watercolors, you definitely want a good brush. That's all I can tell you about that. But I wanted to show you these papers because this is my inspiration. These are from Paper Rose Studio, and if you see here, look at how gorgeous these images are. So these were sent to me so that I could make a project, and I wanted to show you what I've made. So they're double-sided, and you get 2 of each. So as you can tell, I've already cut into most of them. But if you see the watercolor motif butterflies, they're so stunning. Obviously not what I just colored. But look at the big ones. Look at how gorgeous these are. And of course, with the paper being double-sided, then you get options, but you only get 2 of each. And in this pack, you do get a total of 12 designs, as it says here, but you kind of get a little extra because this top portion is not counted in the number of papers, and they're all equally as beautiful as the next. And then the other thing I can tell you is that on the bottom, you'd see that they have a name, and that means that you could actually look up Flower Shop Basics B, for instance, and then you can get a 24 pack of just this style of paper in case you have, for instance, a particular craft in mind and you want to make them all the same. You can do that with Paper Rose papers. And I love that about their collections, that you get a taste of all of them, and then you can definitely order more. You also can get the 6x6. There are also cut aparts and die cut pieces that you can get from this collection. I don't have those, but I can show you the 6x6 is a smaller scale, and then again double-sided, so it'll be the same designs as the 12x12. But if maybe you're not a person that crafts with 12x12 papers, then you always have these as an option. The colors are very nicely saturated, and just because it's smaller doesn't mean that the image is not as well as sharp, I should say, as the larger papers. Some companies will shrink an image and then you lose all of the detail. Paper Rose doesn't do that. So you can see there, in this case, instead of getting only 2 of each, which is really neat about the 6x6, is that you actually get 3 of each. So you get 18 in a pack with these versus the 12, and I think that's quite generous. So what I've done is that I made a folio, or a mini book, if you want to call it that, and I went ahead and just made it 5x7, and this is nice hard chipboard. I've wrapped it, as you can tell, and used that floral paper on the front and back, and even on the spine. Then when you open it, you see the little jar here. That paper continues on to the back. And then I have 3 signatures in this book. The first one, and this is what I want to do today, is add all of the other little things to it. So the first one has a little pocket here. Let me grab a piece of paper. So I'll be able to create a tag to go in here. And it's got that gorgeous butterfly paper. And the bottom of the pages, by the way, have those little strips that you can cut apart. Let me show you. So if you see the bottom here, I love that they continue the designs so that they don't go to waste. And if you know about quilling or anything like that, you can even make flowers or any other little designs with rolled paper, like little beads and things like that. So I think that's really neat. So here on the back of this, I've already created 1 tag. So here I cut it using the tag dies, which are these here. This is Stitch Tags metal die. I used the largest one, cut it out twice, once out of the white paper, next out of the lavender paper. However, I didn't have enough to complete the whole tag, so I had this other little piece here, which you see is yellow. That's actually the back of this paper. So I flipped it over, cut it out again from the same tag, and then cut it diagonally here. It actually hides the fact that there's no purple paper behind it there. But then I also took the little strips that I had cut out of the perimeter there and was able to create that little diagonal little pocket there, and then also another little pink strip. So when you cut away the little edges of your paper, you can still use those little strips as decorations, and I think it looks quite nice. Here's another one of those strips there to create a little side pocket. This opens up like so, so I can still decorate that, of course. Here's more of that paper with the bottles. However, this time around the scale is smaller than the 12x12 that you see here. So you can see the difference there. It's so pretty. And then over here is that little corner pocket with these flowers. That yellow paper continues over here. And then I recently did a video for Tonic Studios with the kit, the butterfly frames. So I had saved this and I thought I might make a bookmark, but I thought, you know what, that looks really cute there because I had done that whole messy Nouveau mousse thing. So I added, in fact, more mousse, and it was mother of pearl to paint onto the butterflies, and I love the way that looks because the background yellow paper has that shabby look to it as well. And that opens like this. So I have room here for yet more little embellishments. And this is that yellow paper with the florals. It's so pretty. So this is the second page, the front part. Did I open this? Yes, I did. And then this opens like so. This opens with 2 little portions there, but you could add 3 photos here. And it's got those jars again. And then the background is that really pretty blue paper. Here, there's a top folding page, and it's got this blue and that little sky there that's got the pink clouds and the little flowers at the bottom. This is actually another little pocket there. Then this is the last page, and on the back it's got more of those beautiful butterflies. The yellow is on the bottom here as that little stripe. There's another little pocket here. And then I did create a little banner just to decorate the top of that little page there and have that little bit of the butterfly paper. This is the bottom of one, so I just left that strip right on there. And then these open, there's magnets inside of that so that it'll open like so, just for some fun. So you can put photos in any one of those. And then that's the back of that page. So super simple, but I had fun making it. And what I'm going to do now, as I mentioned, is to keep decorating this. So this is why I wanted to do the little butterflies and all the things. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut around this one because I'm definitely going to use this. And what's fun about this is if you've seen the other projects I've made for Paper Rose, you can alter the little butterflies. If you get the die cuts or the paper that you stamp, whichever way you want to do it, it's up to you because you can use, like in this instance, I have the watercolor paper, but you can do the same stamping on vellum and then do some heat embossing. You can stamp onto the colored paper, which is the other way that I'm going to be able to save those butterflies. So it's not over for them just yet. And I don't much bother with the little antennas because I'm one that will add little wires to this and all that good stuff. So it's up to you if you leave a white border or not. If you want to leave it with that, I don't think there's a, wrong way to go about it. But the other thing you can do is, of course, take the alcohol marker of choice and then just color around that edge and give yourself just another little touch of color there. So you can do that with whichever color you like. It's kind of a cheater method, I think, for imperfect edges. Imperfect. I was saying that wrong. You guys are so nice. I feel like no one ever corrects me. But, okay, let me do a little bit of white. That's glimmer. I'm going to do a little bit of white on this. And hopefully I can redeem the little butterfly. Poor little thing. And that's just a little bit of a highlight there. You guys let me know if you need me to zoom in, so I can try to do so. I just don't know how well it's going to look if I zoom in. But there's definitely some shine on that, which I think is so pretty. And I'm going to get that marker again, even though I didn't want to do alcohol marker on this. I can at least go back. I wanted to wait until it was mostly dry so that I don't accidentally get water on the nibs, because if you do get these wet, you won't be too happy, because alcohol markers are not meant to be wet. But at least I can blend this out a little bit here. And then do the other one. Okay. And lastly, I'm going to go back with that little bit of white again. Oh, wait, I keep grabbing. It's not it. Here we go, white. Okay. So I'm going to go in just in some of those little details there and add a little bit of white again, just to create a little bit of contrast there. And then if you're very, very meticulous, you can go back with a marker, and I think my camera's over here, and I do have a delay, guys, so I do apologize if I take a little bit longer to figure out. But if you see that butterfly, I think it's super cute. Hopefully I'm in the right place there. Oh, it's hard for me to tell where the camera is. But I think you guys can see it there. So you make as many of those as you like. The other option, of course, is, as I had mentioned before, if you have some papers, you can fussy cut the butterflies out of the paper, or you can stamp the same image onto the papers that you may have left over and then add them to that. So instead of speaking about it, I should just show you, right? So let me show you at least one. And in this case, it won't matter what ink you use, but I like to be consistent and use the same ones whenever possible. And I think, let's see here, because I've got so much pink, I may as well do blue. Okay, good enough. Put her right back in there. And I know there's a little carrier acetate, but there we go. So now I can cut around this portion. And of course, if you have a matching die, you can use that. I figure it's all the same. I don't know if I mentioned earlier that I'm not quite sure if there is a matching die for this butterfly. If I happen to find one, then I'll go ahead and link it later on in the description of the video. So what I'm going to do here is take that portion, whichever one you like, of course. And if you're not familiar with fussy cutting, it's best to move the paper, not the scissors, whenever possible. But you can get your portions there. So, Nolan, are you selling your jewelry? Do you sell it? Or do you make it just for gifts for friends and family? Let me know. Okay, so I've got two of those. And these are precious. They really are. They're quite wet still, but I'm going to see if I can work with them. So I've gone with this one. This one's super, super shiny. And it's very deceiving when you add water to these inks. It seems as if the shine will go away. And I think maybe it's because it'll oxidize for a moment there. But once it dries, you'll be amazed at how much shine you can get. They're quite pretty. All right, so I'm gonna just cut away a tiny bit more around here so that I don't have a super wide edge on this. But this will give me the second example I want to show you. Because here you have the option of adding this as a second layer, or you can take a portion of it alone. I think that's what I want to do here. And just going to be careful here because you can use both. And now let's adhere that portion here. Just need a tiny bit of adhesive there, and I'm going to just spread that out a little because this is quite delicate. So I'm going to put some just here. And this is nice because Nuvo adhesive dries clear. So it'll make it look quite neat when it's all said and done. And you can always cut away any remaining edge there if it bothers you. This is bringing me back to old school crafting. Back before dyes. Okay, there's that. Couple little spots there, couple little drops here, and these are going to be going onto one of the pages, of course. Now, as I said before, depending on the medium that you're using, if you've cut them out of vellum or any other material, then you can get so many different looks just out of one stamp, and I think that's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm actually going to take the remainder and adhere it onto this other butterfly. Bit like puzzle piecing, but I'm just going to set this one aside and I'll do that off camera. So there's that. Okay, and once I cut it out, I'll add more ink to that, but at least I've got two here. I'm just going to clean this up a tiny bit before I adhere it to get those edges looking nice. I think it's quite effective. Give yourself some really unique embellishments. And then to go along with these, I have these little branches. I'm going to cut these out, and what I'm going to do is, and I'm thinking here to use some white paper because that'll stand out from the background. So these are quite delicate, but in lieu of the little antennas, you can do some of the little leaves. I think they look so pretty. Grab these out of here. So you'll notice that these are different. They're not the exact same leaf over and over again. So this one has some hollow leaves. The other one's all solid. Okay. Put this one back over here. All right, so now I get to pick a place in the book to host these little butterflies. And this one has quite a bit of the same color as this paper now. So I'm thinking might not be a bad idea to put them over here. There's blue on them as well. And I'm going to alter the little stems with a little bit of green, which of course you can do with ink or you can do with markers, or as we saw earlier, you can mix and match both. So this is going to be, again, emulating that kind of watercolor look to everything else. Let's see what this one, I haven't played with this ink yet, so let's see what happens when we add it. There we go. Actually, hello Carrie, thank you for being here. So you just switched to Nouveau Blue. Yes. Bonnie, it's a good point. The I left this open overnight, and all I had to do was take a little needle and pass it through the opening, and I was able to use it immediately. I find that Nouveau Deluxe adhesive is quite it's quite forgiving. It's a fun adhesive to use because every adhesive has its thing, right? But Nouveau is, you know, just the fact that it dries clear for the most part. I always stress that because you don't want to be too messy with any adhesive. But it's really nice. I'm going to wipe this off because I don't want to get that all over everything. But now I have some, see my little stems? Because I just swooshed that ink over it, it has a little bit of a linen texture now, which I think is really fun. And I'm not going to do too much thinking about it, just put them on here. But when you get little wispy items like this, I do try to get adhesive on each little leaf, only because I don't want it to then get destroyed when the book is being opened and closed. And I'm going to put that there. And a little bit goes a long way with this also. So guys, my cat has been doing the whole, you know, I'm going to sleep all day until you start filming, and now suddenly I have an emergency. She's going to be sorely disappointed because I don't jump up for anyone, let alone Miss Kitty Cat, who has everything she could ever want. She likes to create emergencies that don't exist. I'm going to fix this a little bit. The tiniest little piece of paper that no one else will see. I'm just going to cut whatever is that deep coral off the edges there. So if you guys hear some meowing, it's just my cat being very upset that I closed the door. Wait a minute, I want this guy facing this way. Okay. So I've got 2 embellishments there. And of course I can keep going. I can keep adding more greenery to that. And then of course you guys know that I can do some Nouveau drops. I won't do them right now because of course I won't have time for them to dry as I'm crafting live. However, that is one little idea there. And I did have the, let's see here, there was another little tag that I wanted to, where did I put it? This one. I wanted to decorate this one. So let's see, I think that I can add some of these. And another thing you can do, of course, with the tags is that you don't have to only have them be a tag. As if that's... I'm sorry, guys. I was gonna be sarcastic. I should not be sarcastic. I don't know why I am. Yes, definitely. The one thing I was going to mention about, sorry guys, I was just looking for my block and it was right in front of me. The one thing I was going to mention about, actually this one's fine, about the Nouveau adhesive is if you are using it on, for instance, a mirror card, you know, because mirror card has that glossy look to it. Or coating, it's not a look, it's a coating. It looks glossy because it has a coating. Then you want to be mindful of when you're cleaning any adhesive off of it, to do it as quickly as possible. And I always suggest like a damp paper towel to do so. Okay, I'm gonna try to clean this stamp real quick here. Let's see how this will go. So it was quite wet. Okay, well, I think I would rather, this is what I was thinking. I would rather take the tag, or the ticket I should say, ink it up a little bit like that. See what I mean? And then I'm going to stamp it in black. Because if I stamp it in blue, we will not see it. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is get a little bit of that ink on there. And then a little bit of the other one. I'll cover these up before I stick my fingers right in it. Because you know I will. And then do this one. Very elaborate techniques here. But now I'm going to splatter some water. I want to get that reaction out of that ink. And I know I didn't use a whole lot, but let's see where it takes us. I'm very curious about this one in particular. So let's see if I can get more. My paper's wet, my hands are wet, everything's wet. Okay, that got a little bit more. Now this, where's the rest of that paper? I just got to thinking, I did cut the butterflies out of watercolor paper, but I thought I had more. Oh well, it'll have to do. can do a little bit of water reactivity, but I kind of need the correct paper, right? But let's just move on. Moving on. This does have matching dies. We'll take advantage of that. And by the way, this also has these little hearts and little stars. So if you're into really diminutive little details, you may absolutely adore that. And I like that there's different shapes on here. They're not all the same. Loving that. So I do want to take advantage of that, and I want to cut them out of these papers. Seeing as we're doing this whole butterfly theme. I am going to set these aside, however. And I apologize. I should have separated these sooner. I just always forget that they come like this. And I tend not to separate them just so that I won't lose the little bitty parts. But I'll try to be good and not lose them. Stick them right on there. Okay, so let's just do all of these at once. And then I'm also going to do them with that, the white paper. So let's do these. Cute little butterflies. Went from no butterflies to everything butterfly. Okay, so let's do that. And some low tack adhesive should hold everybody down. Let's see how this goes. Then we will do the other ones. Okay, so there's that. And, woo, that was close. All right, so we've got one style. Oh my gosh, I love these. Another one, another one. And they don't all have to go on the same page, obviously, because they're the same pattern, but we've got some there. Now I really think I need to separate these. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to focus on which kind it is. This sounds like a wind chime. Okay, the good news is that they don't have a whole lot of these little connectors. In case you're wondering, is this really fussy to do? I don't worry too much with my tangerine because it's such a powerhouse. But if you are concerned about your plates, if you use acrylic plates, for instance, to cut, you do want to be a little more careful about removing the little leftover bits of metal. And then always wear glasses or protective eyewear. Don't ever assume that one of these guys will not pop up, because it's better to be safe than sorry. But this one, I just noticed this one and this one here are solid. So you may want to cut them first and then stamp them. It didn't dawn on me until just now. But if they're not perfect, I think we will survive. Okay, so that one clearly does not match. All right, so it looks like I did I do the same one? Yeah, I did. Over and over and over again. Oy vey. Didn't notice that. Okay. Let me know if you guys are able to see what I'm doing okay. Or if you need me to zoom in. Okay, guys? But yeah, I should have done the stamping after. But you know what? Considering, it's not all that bad. So I do have a little bit of there where the black ink of stamping doesn't show up. But because these are going to be kind of like a mixed media thing, I'm not bothered by that at all. In fact, I actually don't mind a little bit of imperfection here and there. It is paper crafting after all. And I have something else that I'm going to introduce to this little grouping that I want to make. So I'm going to only use 2 of these because the paper is still quite wet. Oh boy, is it wet. All right, but that is watercolor paper. Or no, it isn't. That's why. It's not watercolor paper. Okay, so let's just use those 2 for now. Let's move on. I want to cut the same shapes out of another color. Let's see. I was trying to use all the pieces of paper that were left over. Let me see if I can do that. Maybe not. We got a little bit of this here and there. Pink, florals. You get the gist of it. It's too bad I don't think I'm going to be able to fit more on that one. But the good news is there's still more paper here. Green, let's do that one. And then we'll create a little grouping as we did with the butterfly and the greenery. And let's see what else was there. There's that. Okay, I think these 3 are good. Because it just occurred to me, I thought I was going to use another stamp. Choices. Here we go. Oh, I remember now. It was the cut aparts. I knew there was something with a sentiment that I wanted to use. Okay. All right, so we have 3 more tickets, and these are using those beautiful papers. Do 1, 2, 3. Done with these. So there's one that would look cute in a vertical orientation. Super sweet. Get rid of that. Okay. Got my ticket, and another ticket. Set those aside. Don't want to lose them. Got papers everywhere. I'm sure you can see them, or no, maybe you can't. I don't know. Can you see the pile? The ever-growing pile of little cut-apart papers. Because the paper, the 6x6 paper I mentioned earlier has the little sentiments and images, I should say. So let's look through those. Here we go. Nope, that's this one. This one. So that one's going to look really cute as a grouping on this tag because I can select one of these. Let's go with this one here. So of course, if you want to, you can die cut these, or you can just use a good pair of scissors and cut out each little image as you like. Okay, so let's do that one. It says you have to keep going to keep growing. And I think what I want to do is kind of shabby it up a little bit just on the edges. Okay. And then with the little tickets, can make a little collage here. Let's see if I'll use the blue. Kind of do it off the edge a little bit even. kind of don't want to hide too much of it. There we go, like that. And do another one down here. And then do this one here. Millions of tickets. Why not? Let's do it. I'm going to move these out of the way for a second. I like it when you can take a small portion of space and just make it a focal point. It's a little unexpected, but I think it's fun. And by the way, there's a good weight to this paper. I mentioned it was 200 GSM, but I really like it when the paper is nice and substantial. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to, I think I want to leave it off the edge like that. I think that looks kind of neat. And then this one can be vertical like that. Just actually, you need to be careful with the placement of this one, come to think of it. I don't like that one on the top. I like that one underneath. And then this one on top, maybe here. Topsy-turvy. I guess it's not going to be a whole lot of pink showing there, but that's okay. I thought that graphic was a bit too strong right underneath that girl. It was not flattering. Sometimes you got to be careful with placement. Okay, so there's that. And I had mentioned this itty bitty little thing. This one is called Etched Stem Builder Metal Die. Hopefully you guys could hear that with all the crunch crunch. I'm simply going to cut all of this out at once. And I guess the adhesive is going to stay on there? I don't know. I guess so. That's okay. I have to just get it off my fingers. All right. Let's go with this paper. And that's going to be one pass and everyone's done. And I do want to cut it out of water. Oh, I found my watercolor paper. I found it. I had set it aside. Where's the, here we go. Okay. So this one, I think I'm gonna, wow. It's got a lot of cute little pieces. In fact, this is perfect for layering. I'm going to try to zoom in, guys. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this because they're so little, but they're so cute. And this is perfect for collage. If you like to do junk journals and that sort of thing, this is the perfect die for that. Because it has all these little pieces and you can make the flowers voluminous if you want to, but you don't have to. And there's the watercolor paper I couldn't find. I tried to keep it safe and I couldn't find it. Okay, so let's do that again. So that way, wait, am I missing one here? Yes, I was. Good thing I found it. Okay. So I would not personally separate this die at all. Just every single time, just use it like this. Because I think it's more user-friendly that way. It's just wanting to stick to my hands because I was unable to get the adhesive off of that. Bonnie, at this moment, the one that I'm using is the tangerine, which is why I'm able to cut these out so fast. You see that, how there's no effort whatsoever? This is such a powerhouse of a machine. I can't even tell you. It's, the plates don't warp. So if you see how I'm cutting all of these different thicknesses and everything, it's sold by Tonic Studios. And of course, I'm going to tell you, I have a link in my description bar. But I'll show it to you in just a second once I pop all of these out. If you notice also, it makes absolutely no noise. And it is completely made of steel outside of the casing. So it is a one and done type of machine. If you're looking for one, you would not have to replace it. Every person that I know that owns one, which in my case are the ladies that I work with from the UK and Germany, who are part of the design team for Tonic Studios. They all have had the machine for years, and I had a conversation with one of them because she's been there for a while. And every single one independently has told me that they've never had an issue with it. So I went ahead and bit the bullet and got one, and I have no regrets because it's actually smaller than the Empress. Yes, I have that one as well. So I was going to compare it. Just so you know, the Empress is actually bigger in real estate than this one. So let me show you in just a moment here. I'm just going to set this aside for a second. These as well, so that they're not in the way. Too much stuff. All right, so let me show you what that looks like, because I think it's worth looking at it if you have the moment. Oof. It weighs a lot. That's one thing I'm going to tell you. And let me see how well you can see this. Okay, yeah, you can. So this top part here is where you can house your plates when you're not using it, or you can keep them inside. But you see how narrow that opening is? Absolutely nothing is going to be caught up in there, you know? So these are the smaller plates, but it does come with larger plates. And then it comes with an embossing plate also. This part here is the foot that holds it so that, you know, perpendicular to the machine so that it doesn't shake. And then that's it. Super simple. But when I'm doing crafting, as I am today, where I don't want to have to go back and forth, just keep it right next to me, and it's not too wide. So if you have very little room, I actually recommend that one over the Empress, because I thought my Empress was pretty streamlined. And then I got that one and I was like, huh, I was very surprised. I also have the Spellbinders, both the large and the small, and the mini. Got that one right here. And if you notice, I didn't pull it out because the tangerine's right next to me. So it's all a matter of, you know, what appeals to you, of course. But I have no negative things to say. And the other thing is that if you have just, if you don't want to make any noise, just want to have some quiet time crafting, that one doesn't need to be plugged in or anything like that. You don't have to worry about the power going out. So there's, you know, those are positive things. Every machine is that I've tried so far, however, the Spellbinders, the Empress, and that one, I've been happy with. The only one that I didn't like is the one that you may see in past videos that you no longer see on my table. And it was one of the mini ones. It started losing strength, and And so I was sad about that because I thought, gee, you know, if I were a beginner crafter and this is all I could afford, I'd be quite heartbroken. Um, and I can't I can't even remember who made it, honestly. I was just gonna mention who made it and I can't recall. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit here because I don't know if you guys can see very well what it is I'm doing. Can you? I don't want to blind anyone. Hopefully that's better. You guys let me know, because I see the thing is the lighting. The blasted lights. Yeah, the Empress is a really wonderful machine. I agree with you on that. I don't have anything negative to say about that one either. I think it's, you know, just one of those things. It depends on what you like. But yeah, they're all phenomenal. I think hey, you know what? The way that I look at it is that they're an expensive pair of scissors. That's the way I look at all die cut machines. And I think they're great. So I'm debating on whether or not I want to keep this white on white or if I want to color each one. Choices. I do have, let's see here. I'm just going to go in with a little bit of this. This is BG10. This is an alcohol marker. Again, onto watercolor card, which is not advisable because it uses up all your ink, but just to give it a little bit of blue there, but I don't want that to disappear. However, I do like the delicate look of these little flowers. I think they're so cute. So cute. So you can grab as many of these as you like. You don't have to use them all. And then if you like shimmer, of course, you can use a glitter gloss pen. And I just squeeze it until I get some drops, because you don't have to necessarily color your paper. You can just add a little shine to it for it to be effective and pretty. Just a little here and there. Okay. Yes, you know what? I think that's one thing, Bonnie, I'm agreeing with you on that. That is one thing that Anna Griffin has, you know, scored on, is the fact that she is, in my opinion, as far as crafters are concerned and manufacturers of crafting, right? Crafting tools, I should say. She's the queen of beautiful aesthetics. There's no one out there that does it better than Anna Griffin. I'm sorry to say it, but it's the truth. Because even I even tease the how do you say that? Oh, my words. The ladies over at Tonic. I mean, mind you, they didn't have any say in the design of the tangerine. But I was like, why can't this machine be, you know, light blue to match my room? I'm such a brat. But I was like, really? Can I spray paint it? Is that going to void any warranties or anything? I'm totally going to do foam adhesive here. I'm just going to do like a little collage because I'm inspired now. But I am very tempted to get some Krylon paint and spray paint the heck out of that machine, because I am not a fan of the color orange. It sucks the energy out of me. And I do believe that there is energy in color. I don't care what anybody says. Call me a flake. I don't care. But that's why I surround myself with colors that are soothing to the eye. And actually, it's been proven that when they tell you to, for instance, to calm your mind, to go out into nature and stare at trees and things like that, I mean, it does soothe your mind to look at colors that just are not too vibrant. And green, I don't think green is a very vibrant color. That's my personal opinion, but maybe some people do. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. Disagree with me if you like to. I'm okay with that. But I could never decorate with that color because I don't know what I would do with myself. Yes, definitely. And you know, I know she started off with fabrics, and I do think that there's such a parallel between fabrics and paper. In fact, Mr. Tim Holtz just jumped on that bandwagon recently. And I quite honestly, my reaction was like, well, it's about ding dang time somebody did that. Because a lot of us crafters that like paper also like incorporating fabrics into our paper crafts. And for instance, I have albums that I've wrapped in fabric first and then put the paper on top. I like doing that. I think it's a lot of fun. So this is super delicate and dainty, just my style. Just like my personality. Not. But anyway, but you see what I mean? That little die set is just so sweet. And of course I can add some lavender to this. Let me do that. With a dry marker. Yeah, that'll work. Hold on a second. My delicate and dainty marker. Let's do this one. So you can add a little shadow to some of the flowers if you'd like. That wasn't too effective, but that's okay. It's the thought that counts. But you can do something like that. And I do have a crocodile, so I will be punching a little hole into that. But I love to spend the time to do something like this because for me, this is 100% relaxing. But it also adds a little something extra to your crafts. You don't have to have 1,000,001 things. You just have to have a few things that you really do enjoy. And I think she looks quite sweet in that little garden there. So let's make another one. Maybe this is going to be all tags. Let's decorate the front of this one. So I'm going to put one of these little butterfly tags on the front. And in this case, I'm going to bring back that one that's almost dry. Yeah, I don't do grunge. To me, that's too masculine. And I'm a girl, and I'm 100% girl in every way. So to me, I'm like, keep your brown paints to yourself. Thank you very much. But I respect the fact that there are people out there who really love it and make some gorgeous things with it. You know what I mean? It's just not my aesthetic. That's all. This house, by the way, when I first moved here, every room, I think maybe with the exception of one room, was a different shade of brown. And when I tell you, I was like, ooh, honey, get the paints, baby. Because I was like, I will not survive. I will not survive in this. So you just saw me fussy cut that. You don't need the dies if you don't want to have them. Just so you know. Yeah, no, to me, I'm just like, listen, no. I call that poopy color, and that's that. And I don't care. I'm not apologizing. I'm not gonna say sorry for that. It's poopy color. And to each his own, you know? But just don't like it. And I do enjoy vintage. I'm not going to say that I don't like it, because I do. I have some brown here and there with some crafts, because I'm not I'm not going to exclude absolutely every color. I think it can be quite elegant, but I'm not going to be the person that's going to add grunge to everything. Okay, so I'm going to add this one. I think I need to cut this down. Don't need all that. Put that one on top of there. And I need another cut apart, I think, maybe. I don't know. Do I? Do I? Nah, no, I don't. Just going to do the flowers on here. But I've seen some of his team do some excellent, and I mean absolutely excellent work, so I cannot criticize absolutely any one of them. So I'm going to put some little flowers here and there. My cat's screaming bloody murder. The poor thing, she suffers. She suffers. Maisie, I think you're okay, honey. You have food and water. I'm right here. I haven't gone anywhere. Just doing a video, sweetie. Just can't have cat hairs in my papers, because then no one's gonna like it. All right, so let's do some more of these. I like the little groupings. I think they can be quite fun. Let's do a leaf there. Ooh. Let's do it this way. And I also like anything whimsical, so whenever there's an opportunity for that, I think it can be quite fun. All right, so I'm going to borrow some of the adhesive from some of these. That's another thing I like about this kind of adhesive, in fact, is the fact that you can, it won't dry so immediately that you can't do that. But now I'm questioning whether or not I should have used black ink on those tickets. But I suppose it needs a little bit of depth. Okay, so there's that. And then I don't know, did I mention to you guys that there are words, phrases, whatnots in the 12 by 12? I don't know, I don't think I mentioned that. So there are these. In fact, let's cut that one out. It says smile. So you can die cut these if you'd like to, or you can be like me and just, you know, grab a pair of scissors and have at it. But by the way, I meant to mention that this was good for Mother's Day. I missed the boat for this collection because of my own fault. Just too much happening all at once. But if you like to work in advance, or if you're the type of person that likes to get all these things out of the way and do batch making of cards or anything like that, then what's really neat about these collections is that the great majority of them, hi mamma mia, I just cut my finger off. The great majority of them come with sentiments. So I think that's really neat, because you then don't have to buy another stamp set, for instance, just to get sentiments for cards. This is like a bad haircut, you know, when you keep cutting and cutting and cutting, and then you're like, ah, I look like Dora. Guys, don't mind my sense of humor, okay? Don't come after me. All right, so I'm going to just put that there. And it's going to say smile. Smile, regardless. Maybe do I want it up here? Yeah, let's put it up here. So let's see here, Doodlebug. Oh, Bonnie, so then you like super cutesy stuff. I've not gotten into that yet. I've done, I have worked with some polka doodles. I don't know if you're familiar with that company. They're similar in a way to Doodlebugs. I think the Doodlebugs are adorable, but I never got into it because a lot of the crafting that I did when I first started crafting was scrapbooking for my boys. I have 2 boys. So I would do things that were more, I don't know, pops of color and things like that, but I never got into the super cutesy things. With the, you know, with the little faces on things and things like that. Never did that. I think I have this tag in here and I can't remember now. Oh well. I'm going to make another one. Let's do one more at least. But, you know what I want to do is I want to cut it out with this instead. So let's do that. And let's do it. Let's do it with the watercolor paper. Why not? So this is Vintage Labels 1. Yeah, that's just it with the Doodlebug. I can't get into the little kid faces on everything. All right, there's must be some adhesive there. I can't get it out, so we're just gonna have to be ruthless. Sorry, packaging. You must go bye-bye. There we go. There's the adhesive went all the way across and I couldn't get that out. Let's see if Raquel can open a die set. Ooh, here we go. Come on, baby. It's challenging me. I told you guys my hands are weak. I was not making that up. All right, let's do this guy. And let's do a smaller one. And then I'm going to do a smaller one out of the pretty paper. Let's see, which color do I want? It's so hard not to use the butterflies, but I don't think I've used this paper yet. So let's do this. All that drama was my fault, by the way. It's only because I have no strength in my hands. And then I don't want to break my nails because I already broke one and I get so upset at myself. Oh, yeah. I'm just picky like that. I was doing dishes and I realized that my nails poked a hole right through the glove. I was like, what is this? What kind of quality is this? And the way I found out was because I was burning my finger. I was like, that really hurt. So I'm gonna do these one at a time because I guarantee you that'll slip and then I'll accidentally cut into the dies. So I don't want to chance it. But yeah, the hot water ruined my nail. That and scrubbing, of course. It's like, well, we can't all be princesses. Can try, right? Okay, so there's one little guy. Let's do number 2. And then we shall do number 3. I try to keep those dies in the packaging only because it allows me to find them much more easily. However, I got the clear bins that you can stack your dies in, and I had found some clear envelopes that I really liked. And now I'm kicking myself because I forgot to write down where I got them. I want to say they were from Simon Says Stamp. I think that's where I got them. If I see one on my table, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because I really love the clear envelopes to store them in. And then that way you can keep them by company, and when you go to craft, you can find them so much more easily. Let's see, do I see it anywhere around here? It's somewhere over the rainbow. I don't know. Okay. Now what I would like to do here is, let's think. Thinking cap. Set that aside a second. Set that aside. Set that aside. Might need to grab another piece of watercolor paper. I don't know. But I have this blue that I really like. So let's try this again. This time around with a bigger brush. And we're going to do this. Yeah, these brushes, this ink has a way of beading. It beads up. And I think it's the formulation of it. It's really interesting how it does that. So you kind of have to be aggressive when you're grabbing it off of that foam initially. I've tried it with a foam blender and it picked up beautifully. So maybe the brushes are not always the way you're going to want to use them. However, having said that, there's an exception to everything, and that is that it depends on whether or not you want the texture. So if you see what I mean, that picks up so much of it. Okay, that was my point there. Cannot always say everything in words. Sometimes just showing what I mean is easier. But I really like texture, so. See what I mean though? It's got a weird way of behaving sometimes. But if you're persistent, you can get some cool effects. So I'm always tempted to go back and grab more ink, but you don't always have to do that. Sometimes just allowing the brush to do its thing can really be fun. And you get a good saturation of color also. I really like that. Of course, it's going to be all over my fingers, but that's okay. Not too shabby. All right, I'm going to clean this off real quick. And on here, I'm going to wet this stamp. Let's see how that works. Let's just see if we can do some reverse stamping here. What I'm going to do is turn the stamp backwards on the, will it stick? Nope, it won't stick. I was going to try to see if I could do it as a solid, but that's not going to work. So I'm simply going to wet it, remove some of the water, and see if this will react with a little bit of water that's on that stamp. And it does. Ooh la la, I like it. It's sliding on the, it slid on the block, but I like that. So it creates a little bit of a resist technique. Now I don't want that water to spread everywhere, so I'll remove a little bit of it and then stamp it again. Just you and me, Bonnie? I guess so. That's okay. Let's do... I should probably let this dry. Let me dry it real quick. I have my little guy plugged in right here, so that shouldn't be a problem. Let's dry it. I tell you, it's fun to play around and just discover, right? Discover what's going on here. What's it gonna do? Well, I appreciate you, sweetie. Thank you so much. Because I know I didn't announce this, and it's late in the day and all that good stuff, but hey. Given all the dilemmas that I have with my computer and the whole bit, I can spend more time fighting with technology than actual crafting, and that can get old real quick. So I'm just going to do that there. And I wonder, should I do it on the other one? It's kind of off, but should I care? Probably not. Probably not. Let me see here. Try to aim at it and fire. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a shadow there. I think I'm going to do the water thing again, though. Just wet it. Okay, so I'm going to do that again. So it's going to keep reacting, and I love that. Take some of that excess off. Being attacked by a cat. Okay. Me like. So this is a butterfly heavy project, but I'm digging it because it's not all the same over and over and over again. So for me, it shows that you can do quite a bit with just one image. Oh, thank you for telling me that, Bonnie. Yes, I always wonder what time of day would be best, and I think it's really back and forth with people, especially because unfortunately I can't always plan my videos ahead of time, and that's because I do have a bad back, and so I don't like to set myself up for not being able to follow through if I say, oh, I'm going to be live every Thursday, and then it turns out that I can't even walk or whatever. I've contemplated doing that, but I like my yes to be a yes and my no to be a no. So if I'm not 100% able to do something, that I don't like to put, you know, my words out there like that. So, for instance, this would have been a pre-recorded video, except for the fact that everything went kaput. And then last week I wanted to do a pre-recorded video. I was unable to do that because of lack of time. So I just do what I can. All right, so this here, this hot mess, I shouldn't have grabbed that much, but hey, since I did, let's just use it. Just gonna add a little there. I was only gonna use it for splatter, but I'm gonna add it here and there. I wish I had, you know what? Just thought of this. Oh my word. Oh, Bonnie, I'm so sorry to hear that. Wow, wow, wow. Oh my goodness. How did you have an accident? I think you did, didn't you? I can't recall now. My poor auntie, she just fractured her lower back and she's going to need surgery. So I'm hoping to get an update on that very soon. All right, so there's a little bit of stenciling that I didn't anticipate doing, but I kind of like it, even though it's not perfect. We shall see. Maybe it'll be a hot mess, maybe not. I don't know. Are you having to deal with pain management, Bonnie? Let me know. Because, goodness, I sure as heck know what that's like. All right, so I'm just going to use the rest of this on here as a resist technique. I'm going to have to let it dry, though. And I used way too much mousse. So that's going to go away because I just wanted to splatter it. That's all I wanted. Just wanted to splatter it. I'm going to grab another paintbrush here. Oh, that had pink on it. Oh well. That's what I wanted. I wanted to just create a little bit of a splatter. So I'm going to bring this back. Do that on there. Do it over there on that page, here and there, because this will be pearlescent. And it'll look like it was just part of the paper to begin with. So I'm going to add it to that as well. And it's funny how when you try to splatter something, it feels like nothing happens, but when you're not trying, it gets all over it. Like right now, I have more mousse in my hair and on my face than I do on the papers. I can literally feel it. Like, Maisie. Seriously. She's freaking out. Alright, let's clean up this mess. The things you don't see in the pre-recorded video, as I always say. You don't see me spraying my face. Okay. Edit that out, would you? Whoever can, edit that out. All right, so let's dry these little guys so that I can actually use them. Take a peek here at the chat. Oh my word. Oh wow. Bonnie, I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, that's how I think that's what what's the word for that? You know, when things get going and going and compiles, I don't know the English word for that. When one thing stacks on top of another, you know what I mean. But that's exactly, you know, with me, what my situation was one too many times of falling or doing too much, you know what I mean, without the opportunity to rest. I had a job where I worked with small children, and the second day that I was there, I hurt my back. And I didn't know my legal rights, sadly, because I should have taken time off, but because I was embarrassed that I had hurt my back. A light fixture was falling, and I jumped on a chair to catch it. It was a light cover, I should say, because there was a pregnant mom standing right underneath it. And so I strained my back. It actually was what they call a thoracic sprain from the top of my head to my tippy toes. Good times, good times. And then I ended up having to work with children that were too young to tend to themselves, even though that wasn't even my job description. Oh, let me tell you, one thing after another. So I had to change diapers 12 times a day with a hurt back and all that good stuff, you know. Fun, fun, fun. And then fast forward to today, I just I have Nouveau Mousse all over my computer screen. 5 years ago now, yeah, over 5 years ago now, or something like. Because I forgot now. Now part of the pain thing is that I lose track of time, of course. But anyway, I was doing a stretch. I was showing my son a stretch, and I heard a pop, and then that's it. Has not been the same again, and I've not stopped having pain since then either, regardless of what the doctors told me to stretch and do and this and that. Lasers, all the good stuff. I don't know if I want to keep doing the little tags on these. I kind of like this just the way it is, but I do like the idea of adding a little more color to these. Let's do some purples. And hopefully you can see this. I think. Yeah, it's such a catch-22 because, for instance, I was just discussing this with someone who has it way harder than I do. I have the option of taking medication every day just to, you know, make life a little bit easier. However, I have my internal organs to think about. And that's what I was telling her. I was like, I kind of want to save my kidneys and, you know, not put them through all that because I know what the side effects are of all that. So I just, you know, that's what I told her. I said, I just pick my battles. You know, just take one day at a time. Do what I can. And crafting is the best thing I can do for myself, even though it's painful to sit here. It's better for me to do something creative and be in pain than to cry like you were just saying, you know, just sit there and cry. Although there are days like that for me, but that's because I'm 100% human. 100% frail human being. All right, so I'm really digging this because I don't know if you can tell, but the ink did what it's supposed to do, right? It reacted to the water. I went ahead and stamped the little butterflies in that other metallic color, which is the gold, the Golden Sun Shimmer. So this should react to water and turn yellow. But in the meantime, I've not put any water on those images. Instead, I'm coloring them with the alcohol markers, and I'm able to introduce other colors to these little butterflies. This is a lot of fun. And I'm still, this is really neat. I really like the fact that the Nouveau Mousse is still on there. And it looks like a highlight, but it also reacted a little bit with the ink. Let me see if I can show you this up close. So I really want you to see that. Where am I? Over here. Do you see what I mean? How cool is that? It'll never look the same far away as it does close up. But if you see the reactivity of those little butterflies against the background, because I use them with water, and then in the centers now I'm able to add the blending of the alcohol markers. Even though this is watercolor paper, it's just going to end up looking, you know, as if those images were already there. But I'm quite happy with the results of that. And I'm thinking that the next layer here, and I'll do that off camera, is that I can stamp them again and do the paper piecing as I had done with these, or with this one I should say. And then that way I can introduce an even lighter color to that. But I won't keep you here so long, so I'll do that off camera, but I'm really loving that. And then over here, I would like to, let's do the flowers. I really thought I was going to use more of those tickets. I'm actually surprised that I didn't. Trying to think here, maybe. I don't know if I'm, yeah, it kind of doesn't do anything for me there. I'm going to leave this in here because I don't want to forget about it. But I don't want to call that done. And I was thinking that I would like to introduce another fun little tag in here. Where was it that I had a pocket? Oh, it's over here. So I do have room. I mean, there's a lot of room still here in this little book to do a lot more. But for the sake of getting one more little thing done here, let's see. Let's do the bigger flowers. Let's cut everything. We can do some of these. Yes, it's funny you say that. That's my biggest challenge as well. And it's kept me from being able to do so many things. I just this past weekend traveled to go see my son play a concert. And it was over, I think it was a little over 3 hours. And I just have to really pray. That's the only thing that gets me through it. I pray. I ask God to give me mercy. And then put on a smiley face and try to get through it. So that other people aren't looking at me like, what's wrong with you? Why are you frowning? Why do you look so miserable? It's like, oh, gee, if you only knew that I'm shaking because I'm in so much pain, but life goes on. Really puts things into perspective though, you know? Okay, one little round of flowers. they go. And only take it one day at a time. One day at a time. That's how I look at it. One page at a time, one day at a time, one little tag at a time. There we go. These are so darling. I really like these little flowers. I think it's because they have that texture on the inside. They just look so cute. And then you can also cut the little centers, which have the stippling on them. So that's a lot of fun. The little leaves. And then varied sizes. Let's see, what am I missing here? I don't think I'm missing anything. And there's even smaller ones, but because you don't need all of it necessarily, then I'm just going to omit some of them. The tiniest ones, I should say. But you can really, really get some detail and volume with these. But again, like I said earlier, when it comes to these types of dies, I think the best thing is to put the magnet on the packaging if you can. So that way you don't accidentally lose those little delicate dies. I love dainty little details, but you do have to have kind of a method of keeping them all in one place. It's so easy to not do that. Okay, let's see if you can go back in there. I have more of a challenge with packaging than anything else. Here we go. Okay, don't get lost. All right, out of the way. Now, let's see. Woohoo! For this one, this color would be pretty as well. Quite vibrant. One of those, here we go. Let me see if I can do a smaller brush. This one here. So this is a more like a detailed brush. See a little problem with it right away though. Some of the, I don't know what it is. I end up having to give them haircuts. Some of the bristles were off. It's like, interesting. Okay. So let's wipe off some of this. Don't want it to be too dark. But just for the little detail there, I want to take advantage of the fact that the die does leave those little grooves in there. And then you can do it a little darker on one end. You can do the texture with that. I think I want to do it in the different color though. Oh, hello, Maggie, Miss Molly. Oh, wow. What time is it in Australia? Should you be sleeping? But welcome, welcome. I am so honored. Thank you so much for being here. I'm making a mess. What are you doing? Having fun with all these things. And please meet Bonnie. My friend Bonnie's in the chat. So Miss Bonnie, I introduce you to Maggie, Miss Molly. So do you go by Maggie or Molly? Oh, okay. No worries. Ooh, you're being naughty. How fun. I will not tell anyone, I promise. All right, so I'm going to do that center there. And then I'm going to take the rest of this here. I don't want this to look too patriotic though, so I am gonna hit this with a bit of water. So there's that. Blue. And where's the other one? Here's this one. Because I think, well, I guess I'll decide after I do the coloring, I'll decide where they're gonna go. There's those two little guys. And then there's this little guy. Ooh, that's vibrant. Do that one. And I have this other one. I think I'm gonna leave those white. Okay, good enough. Okay, I've got my little brushes I can put away there. And now, where did I put, oh, here, it's right in front of my face. Water, 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 water. Water, water. You know what, I'm just gonna do that because I have no patience. I want it to look as if I watercolored it. There we go. I appreciate watercolor paper because it can take some abuse. It doesn't fall apart so easily. So I'm just grabbing the little droplets that are on here for whatever it's worth. Okay. And then there was a little bit of blue left behind, but yeah, I don't think that's going to be visible. Let me grab that again. Just going to grab whatever's on there with a little bit of water. I tell you what, there's such... I know that this is looking really subtle because of the way that I'm applying this, but I can tell you that there's such intensity in those inks. Depending on which style of inking you prefer to do, here is full on. So you can hopefully appreciate how intense that can be compared to how I'm actually coloring with it. In case you're curious about that, it's absolutely stunning, by the way. I'm just being more gentle with it, but I do like an edge with ink on it because it's going to look really neat compared to the rest of the paper, the background. And I like that little je ne sais quoi. What did you do? What did you put on there? And typically I respond with, I don't remember, because I was just crafting in the moment. So whatever brush I picked up, I picked up. That's my favorite type of crafting. Residual ink is just as fun. All right, so I don't want to kill it, so I'm going to leave it be now. No more brushing, no more inking. Let's dry this up so we can continue on. Make a little cluster. Now, ideally, you would want to do all of your flowers on one day, all of your die cutting ahead of time. You know, those perfect world situations. However, you can be spontaneous as well. And just let your imagination take you. Now this tag, I can add here to the side. I'm trying to think of how much volume I'm going to put on this. And that's why I'm looking at my pages first. So that way when I put a little tag in there, if I plan ahead of time, I'll place the elements so that they're not competing with the page. I hope that makes sense. And I might have to do these separately. I have to decide on that. Now let's dry this so that it's not all over the place. Replay, let me see, I'm sorry, replay, sorry. Oh yeah, that's not a problem. I've been here a while and I'm just crafting because I mentioned at the beginning of this video, my computer's not working, so I was not able to pre-plan a video. And I figured what was important was to show the products and how fun they can be, and I'm having a good time, so hopefully that comes across. That you can use all of these items to just craft and have fun. And discover little techniques as you go along. You don't have to take it too seriously, right? At least I try not to. Try to just enjoy it. And in the meantime, I'm getting harassed by a naughty little cat who is literally head bumping my door. Quite literally banging her head on the door. Okay, so I have the center for this one. Even though, you know what, I don't think I want to use that as the center. I think I'm going to use this one instead. Then I'm going to use this as another flower with this white one. I'm going to pop it up. And I know that I have a stem that I can use, so I might just use that up here. I need to add adhesive to it, of course, but I'm going to borrow one of these little stems. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. I don't know what I was just thinking. It's like, glue it to your finger, that'll work. Here we go. Oh my gosh. At least I amuse myself, if nothing else. Okay, that little guy's gonna go right there. And I had mentioned the centers that you can do. It's so cute. I really like them. And then we can use this one right here. It's looking very 4th of July. So if you need an idea for a 4th of July card, here it is. Just slap that on the front of a card and you'll be good. But let's see here. I do want to take this a little bit further. Yes, she's quite spoiled, okay? Let me just tell you, today I sat there and I brushed her. She's a what kind of cat is she? She's a ragdoll, so she's got a lot of hair. And today I spoiled her rotten. I sat there and combed out all her hair, got all the excess out and all that good stuff. And apparently she thinks that she can just come back for more. I don't even know. I think it's just, it all boils down to she's a little princess. And thinks that she gets to tell me what to do. is. All right, so you know I have to do some diamond dots because that's just my jam. I really do like them. And they just add that little glimmer here and there. You don't have to do as many, but if you like them. And of course now I want to cry because it just dawned on me that I used to get these at Joann's and I didn't grab any before they closed. I should have gone in there with 2 hands, not 1 hand, 2 hands ready to shop. It just occurred to me. I really like that though. It's got that messy background, a little gradation of color there, the shine on the blooms. In fact, there's this that I always mention. Is this the same one? I think so. I had used this earlier. Yep. Can add a little bit of shimmer to some of these here and there on the edge. Just for that little extra bit of shine there. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Just a little cluster, but it looks darling. And then that can go in our book. And this one, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll use it on the cover. Let's think about that. I'm going to put this one over here. In this little pocket is a cute little surprise there, right? So I think off camera what I'll do is I'll keep making little clusters and adding them here and there because I really, really like the way that that looks. And then I do want to add something up here also with more little flowers. Let me think here. There's too much pink on pink though. And the butterflies are not doing it for me either. So I did have a ticket that was blue. Let's see what we can do with that. Let's do the blue ticket. Blue shiny. Shiny ticket, which I could die cut, but I'm not going to bother. As I said before, they are available, but quite honestly, you don't always need them unless you want to use the other shapes, which are these, this shape, and then it looks a little bit better when, you know, they do stand out from the background. But I'm thinking trios are always a good thing. I just didn't want to take away from the ticket, but at the same time, I don't know if I should care. I want to do something over here. Let's see if I can do it like this. Don't want it to compete with this because I really like that. Choices, choices. Let's see if I should do a white one. Should I do a white one? Or, let's see here. Maybe not. I think I just figured it out. Yep. I'm just going to keep it super delicate. Just going to add this one. I'm not going to keep thinking about it. I'm just going to add little droplets of adhesive there and some windswept flowers, because that's what you call it when you don't plan it out and they just happen to fall on the page. Just make up a name and go with it. So we're going to do that one and then cut away a little piece of that off the edge. And then we're going to take advantage of all these little petals. And we're going to put them here and there. Ooh, Mom, that was backwards. Wrong way to do that. Come on, here we go. I don't know why it's sticking to the tool. I guess I had adhesive on it sticking to my nails. Just everything. Here we go. Come on, honey. Get on there. How about right there? Nope, that didn't look right. Moving you over. I liked it better the first time. I'm running the risk of my cat clawing my furniture at this moment. I just thought of that. Hope she doesn't hear me, because it's probably what she'll end up doing. So Bunny, you stocked up? Oh, that's smart. Really smart. I never hit that store on a good day. Never in all of the years that I've been shopping at Hobby Lobby have I ever gotten a good deal on absolutely anything. In fact, I'm that person that I think when I walk in the door, they increase the prices instead of decreasing them. They're like, she's on her way, quick, add another zero. It's so annoying. Because then I see videos and people are like, oh, I did this haul and everything was a penny. And I'm like, not in my world. Never happens. I don't know why. It's just the way it goes. All right, so I'm going to keep layering here. And I feel like it needs a sentiment, but I don't have one that I think is small enough to put on there. Unless I do happy. Yeah, let's do that. Happy. Happy little trees. These are going to be happy little flowers. Happy, happy, happy. There we go. Let's do that. Just to break it up, and because there was black on that ticket, I think it'll work. Happy. And I think what I'll do is I'll double this up with some watercolor paper so that it does look a little more intentional. Crooked but intentional. Another Dora haircut. You saw it here first, folks. The Dora haircut technique of cutting paper. Oh gosh. Gotta laugh though. It's so crooked. Yeah. That's okay. We're gonna just stick it in there and be happy. Let's move you out of the way. Yep, that had to go. That one too. Let's put it there. Then we'll put another flower on top, or whatever this is. Leaf. Put the little leaf on top. I'm doing what my good friend would say, faffing. Faffing all the way. Put that back. I think it looks cute. It's a little cluster. Very sweet. And then some little dots here and there. We'll complete that. Let's make them a different color. Let's go for this creamy color. That way it kind of blends in with all the other colors there. And I love the shine on that paper. It really looks so darling. Okay, so there's that. And I hope I wasn't out of frame, but we've got a little cluster there on that little corner, our little one on that tag, which can very well be just a journaling tag, because you can journal on the back or place a photo on the back and then do the journaling on the front. Kind of like that type of little surprise in a book. Of course, if you want to use it as a like a devotional book, you could do that as well. Oh, thank you so much. I think, however, that, let's see here, I should probably do, I'm tempted on doing the front, but I don't know. Should I do the front? I don't know if I should do it off camera or not, because I'm gonna have to reboot here for one moment, because I need to find what I was intending on using on this cover, and sadly I have such a hot mess here right now that that's not very likely to happen. But there's the tickets. There's all those little cut aparts. Just gonna readjust myself for a moment here. There's more tickets that I can cut out. Another butterfly. All these little bits and pieces that are useful still, because I'm not gonna let go of them just yet. I was looking for what I wanted to use in the cover. I was tempted to do yet one more layer there and then put one of the images of the girls, because they're so pretty. So let's take a look at those. I think the smaller ones are too small for the cover of this book, unless I do super duper layers with these, which is another option. But I did want to take a peek at, kind of like, well, let's evaluate that. Kind of like the idea of using one of the larger cut aparts, and I hope that this was in frame. One of these ladies. I like this one with the blue. I'm gonna see if there's a way to cut it out with the die. Hopefully there is a possibility of that without ruining the image. I would really like that. And yes, 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 that's gonna be it right there. All right, so I'm just gonna cut this portion out and we'll put that on the front. And then we'll have to call it a day because my hubby's home. But look at that butterfly. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh my gosh. Maybe I should cut that out too. I think I will. One more thing. It's like, but wait. But wait, there's more. All right, so we have her. So we're definitely going to put her on the cover. So, so cute. Those images are gorgeous. Then we're going to grab this little guy here. Let's see what we can do with it. Okay. Boom. I think I'm going to start by grabbing the 52nd pair of scissors. I think it has to go on the cover, right? I'm almost obligated. I'd be cruel if I didn't include the butterfly. Okay, so we're going to just fussy cut this baby out of here. And create a little bit of a scene here. And I'm not going to be too particular about this because I might actually shabby up those edges while I'm at it. But I at least want to get close enough to it so that there's not too much of a border. But it is such a pretty image. Almost done. There's that. Okay. Oh, one wing is a little wingy and the other one's not so wingy. Okay, that's okay. I'm going to cut this portion here, this one as well, to give it a little more movement. There's that. So that way this can lift a little bit more. I'm going to cut this little image out. Okay. And then she'll be ready to go. Side, don't want to lose it. Okay, let's see what can happen here. Got her. Oh, it turned out to be the same size as this one. Well, I can just do it topsy-turvy, or let me see here. Choices. I can do it as a drop shadow. Also, I'm tempted to cut it in half. Should I cut another one and then do the other one as a drop shadow on the other side? I could do that. Do 2 drop shadows. So that one is bigger. Let's see. I think I'm going to do this one a little bit larger. So that way it's super duper layered. So that's the look I was going for anyway. Okay, she's in her super garden. All the flowers. And this way no one is left out. She's got all of them. And I wanted to do this so that it would have a lot of volume on the front here. And I think I will be able to achieve that. Trying to think if I should have part of the butterfly on the bottom peeking out of here and then the other half on top. That would be kind of fun. So let's do that. It's like, oh no, but she's gonna be fine. I'm gonna do part of that, maybe poking out of here. Let's see here. Kind of need a little bit more room, don't I? But it's okay. It's just going to be a little element there. I want to add some foam here. Let me see. Where are you? Foameth. Here you are. Actually, no, I have even better. I just remembered that I have. Do I? Yes, I do. Woohoo! Thank God. All right, so I've got this thicker foam. So let's do that here. And then we'll do the situating of all these other elements. Okay, so I think I
You're
want...
done?
I'm
sorry.
You scared the heck out of me. I'm doing a YouTube live.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I just want to tell you, you got 20 minutes.
Okay. All right.
Because
I'll be done.
I've been watching and you said...
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
It's all good. I'm saying you get more time.
I'm
sorry,
okay. It's just me and Bonnie. No one else is watching.
It's okay. So I'm cooking dinner and taking a shower. So you get 25 minutes.
20 minutes.
Sorry.
My husband just scared the bejesus out of me. Please don't let the cat in here, okay? Oh my gosh, that scared me. Oh, I did not expect that door to move. All right, I like that. And I think I want the other one down here, but it's going to be an interesting little look there. It's just going to be off page, and I'm okay with that. All right, so I'm going to press down and see where this lands. Voila. Perfect. Okay. I like that. Yeah, that was my husband. He's been home for a little while, but he usually comes home and goes straight to the shower. So I figured I had a little time. And I think I'm going to do this here. Just like that. Little collage. Oh, it's so cute. I love it. Okay, so I've got that. And I can do the little tickets. I think I want the darker one here. Pull some of that blue out of there. Maybe some pink right under it. Just like that. These papers are just so gorgeous that it really is effortless to craft with them, I have to say. It's just fun. Like, you can tell I'm not having to stress in any way or like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? It's just more of deciding on placement, really, when you're doing this sort of thing. I didn't use this one. Let's alcohol color that one. Add a little bit of light green to this. But once you've decided to that on that, I should say, then the rest is easy peasy. And I think I need some yellow. I'm sorry if I shake the camera. Yeah, this ink is not, I'm not understanding this at all. I thought I used the alcohol safe ink on this, but it's not looking like it. Who knows? I can't remember at this point which ink it was that I used on that. I could have sworn I used the alcohol friendly one. But I don't like it. It looks yuck. So I'm not using that. I wanted to use a lighter color though. So for instance, there's this yellow here, and I can cut a ticket out of that. So that's precisely what I'm going to do. If I can find the die, that would be great. Oh, you know what? I also had some, oh, I just remembered this. Excuse me, pardon my voice. I have these transparent tags that I meant to use. Oy vey, I forgot all about it. Let's see if I can. These are from Recollections, and I've had them for a minute. I've got to use this because they're acetate tags, but it's white ink. Well, it has the look of white ink on clear acetate, and I just think they're so cute. And yet I've not incorporated them into any project. So here we go. I'm gonna just cut around the edges. It's got this cute little whimsical style to it because it looks like it's hand drawn. which I love. And you can add these wherever. You know what I mean? Like there's no wrong way to do it. I'm going to try to follow that scallop. I will try. And there's that. Close enough. I kind of want to add that there for a little bit of shine. So what I would like to do is to use some double-sided adhesive on the portion that won't be seen. And just tuck that right on in there. Right in here. Right behind this one. Because again, it's just a little element of something extra there. It doesn't add any volume whatsoever, but it does add that little bit of shine. And then I can stick more flowers on top, which I'll do off camera. But I'm digging this. And then I was thinking of adding more yellow, but I guess I don't have to. Let's see what else. Let's add one more of those. I was gonna cut out another ticket, but I guess I didn't. Project. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, sweetie. I get so in my element that I forget. And you know what it is, right? I don't have my regular camera. Oh, it's so annoying. I'm hoping that by tomorrow, God willing, by tomorrow, I will have that. Oh, I just can't wait. Because it really does put such a damper in video editing when you don't have a computer to edit with. It's kind of like, yeah, can't do anything. And I turned on my computer on Monday and it didn't work at all. So then I went to my computer guy. He tested it and he got it to work no problem. So I was like, oh, okay. So then it must have been an error on my part. Well, no, it wasn't. It was just a fluke that it worked for him. Because then I got home and, sorry, I had to grab my crocodile. I got home and it worked for only one day. I got to put out one video. And then I turned it on again and it didn't work at all. So then you start wondering, like, am I out of my mind? It's like, no, I'm not. It just was not working. Okay, so I'm going to do a little crocodile action here. Not my favorite tool, but every now and then I like to use it. So this already has a little hole marker on there. And I've got these little eyelets that are flower shaped. I guess I'm gonna have to cut it with, I don't trust myself with this thing, so I try to be careful with it. But I thought, since these little flowers are cute, let's try to use it. And here's the hard part for me, because I have no idea which little cube thingy is supposed to be the one that I use. I have no clue. But I know that it's got to go in there. And then you squeeze it. Do I squeeze it harder? Maybe. That's the part I never know. It's like a hug. There we go. Oh, I think it's cute. So now it's got that clear acetate tag on top of the other one. Super sweet. And what else? What else? Maybe I will, yeah, I guess I could double up this one. Oh, you know, I was tempted to get one of those a long time ago. But then I was like, will I use it? I don't know. I guess it's like anything else. If you have it, you're more likely to, or actually, you know what? I don't want to add a clear one to this because this does have a pocket. Leaving that one alone. Let's see, what was the other? There was this one that also has volume to it, so I can't add it there. But we can just cut one out and add it as something here. So let's do that. This square one's kind of cute. I admire people who can use the tools and so efficiently get them to work. I had excuse me, my throat's dry. I had one of those tools, and I don't recall the name of it, from We Are Memory Keepers, that gets hot and it has a little wheel on the end, and you're supposed to be able to make little pockets with it with acetate, and I was so excited to get it in my hands, and it didn't work. So then I contacted the company, and they were super sweet, and they replaced it with a second one, and it didn't work. It just fizzled out. It had this like stinky smoke smell and fizzled out, and I was like, well, I guess it wasn't meant to be. I'm not gonna keep harping on it, so I just let it go. All right, so this one I'm just gonna put here for funsies. But I would have loved to use that. I've seen it all over social media with much success. Okay, mine is going to be this time around. Oh, wait. No, that's too red. I have yellow flowers and I have these white ones. I don't know if I have any other ones. I probably do, but... Oh! I got the... I even labeled this top. Okay, because they will all fall out otherwise. I'll put a white one here so that it doesn't ruin the opposite page. What I intend to do with this, by the way, is to add little pieces of seam binding in there. I don't know why it is I have to think about this so hard. I think it's contrary to how my brain works. Here we go. Okay, but it adds a little bit of movement there, which I think is fun. So cute. And then I can always add something on top, but we're going to leave it be for now. And there's also, see, I wish I had more time. It's always the time factor. I'm also off camera going to add, I think, a bit of lace to this. Here it is. It was here. It was here all along. Because I think it's going to add a little bit more texture here and there also. So I'll tuck it in. I always find a way to get that in there. Because I think it's going to look really sweet. But I don't want to cover up all the tickets. So I'm just going to try to be careful as to where it goes. Maybe on the side. Typical standard way of adding it. But this lace is from Renee Bouquets. I just happened to find it in my stash, and I thought it would look lovely in here. So I think that's going to be part of that as well. Oh, I could keep going, but what I'll do is I'll take photos, of course, to submit to Paper Rose, and I'll be sharing them on social media so that everyone who is interested can see it. How this all ended up getting finished off. But Bonnie, I appreciate you so very much for being here today with me. If you would like to get one of my cards in the mail, please email me your address, paintsandglitter@gmail.com, and I will send one your way. And if you want me to make it out of these supplies, let me know and I'll do that. Okay, just as a thank you. But I have had so much fun crafting with these supplies. You can tell my hands are all inky and smudgy and all that good stuff, but it's really, as I said before, a lot of fun to just take out the papers and play with them. And because this is all one collection, to add to it, I mean, you can do the inky fun stuff as I've done here, but you don't have to. If this is not your thing, if you don't like getting messy, you can just take the papers and then, as I had done with the butterfly on the front, like this, and fussy cut the papers and stick them onto a background shape or color, any of the frames, and that's just as pretty. So it's just a matter, you know, of personal taste. But I hope that this has been of some inspiration to you today. Don't forget to like the video. It helps the algorithm of my channel. There are links below for all of what I used today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And as I always say, I do hope that you can be inspired and be blessed. And thanks again. Yes, it was lovely spending time with you, Bonnie. God bless, and I hope you have healing. I pray that you heal from your injuries. And I'm sorry for the squeak. That was my chair. I'm standing up. Oh, goodness. But take care, sweetheart. Have a good evening. Ciao.